Welcome back, everybody, to episode 191 of the Tech Informist podcast. This is Kevin.
And Brad.
And we would like to welcome you all to this podcast. I've been having a little bit more fun on the Tech Informist community on Facebook. I know you've been kind of busy.
Yeah, a little different hours and things just been all over the place. We're getting ready for our trip and yeah, just a little busy.
Yeah. And so the day that we record this is Friday, October the 6th. You leave in like 2 weeks, roughly?
Ish, yeah.
Something like that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's coming up quick.
Yeah.
But on Tech Informist community, we've added a handful of new members, and that's pretty cool. And there's been some little discussions kind of going. And again, stuff like this just takes time. But I do want to invite everybody to go to facebook.com/groups/techinformist. I think that's it. Or just search Tech Informist Community.
And look for the logo.
There's a link on techinformist.com that'll take you right there. There's also going to be a link in the show notes for this episode, so you can get to it there as well. This week, it's kind of all about Google.
Kind of hard not to talk about Google. They had a huge event, and they brought out more devices than I think most people are expecting.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Well, so just dig in. Well, we know all about the Pixel 2 and the Pixel 2 XL. In this day and age, 2017, there's really not much they can keep secret when it comes to smartphones.
True.
Like any manufacturer, it's all available. You just got to wait for confirmation.
I mean, it's really kind of the greatest interest that people have to try to find those little secrets out. I mean, you have certain things that people had no idea were coming out, like their little devices that we'll talk about later. But, I mean, yeah, like you said, the phone is so easy to just find the leaks and documents and everything on these.
Yeah, it's hard to keep things under wraps these days. So, both the Pixel 2, Pixel 2 XL... ships with Android 8.0 and the Google UI, Snapdragon 835, 4 gig RAM, and now's where the differences kind of come into play with the display. Pixel 2, 5-inch AMOLED display, Pixel 2 XL, 6-inch POLED display.
1440 versus 1080.
So keep in mind, the Pixel 2 HCC, Pixel 2 XL, LG.
Yeah.
Right. So if you look at the front of the Pixel 2 XL and you've seen images of the LG V30, you really can't tell much apart.
Other than one is a little bit taller, I believe, the Pixel 2 XL.
Yeah, and it might just be very similar or very minimal taller. Both have dual stereo front-facing speakers, so hurrah for that. That's great. Front camera, both of them are the same, 8 megapixel. With a f-stop of 2.4, fixed focus, some images of selfie portraits that I've been seeing from like Marquez Brownlee, MKBHD, and other tech bloggers that were able to go to the Google event. Man, those front-facing pictures look fantastic.
Well, I mean, most people love taking selfies now. It used to be like it used to be in the category of fidget spinners. People hated taking selfies, or it was like, you know, a thing that kids did, and now pretty much everybody does it.
Right.
So it makes sense that the technology evolves with that. So now we have 8 megapixel shooters where 4 or 5 years ago, 8 megapixels was the rear facing, and you'd be lucky to get a 2 or 3 megapixel front shooter.
Yeah. Rear camera, 12.2 megapixels with an f-stop of 1.8. Optical imaging stabilization on both. That's a huge step up from the original Pixels.
Yeah. Remind me, did the XL have it? And
neither one of them did.
Good. Okay. That's
and
a good
another
change.
thing that they've added this year is IP67.
Thank God.
So,
I mean,
there's
it's not
some
the
water resistance there.
Yeah, it's not the full solid 68, but still, it's fine. It's enough.
Better than what it was.
Yeah.
2700 milliamp hour battery on the Pixel 2, 3520 milliamp hour battery on the Pixel 2 XL.
I'm telling you, that
good.
XL is mighty fine.
That is nice.
Yeah.
Now, storage, 64, 128. Those are the only two. Colors, you have Kinda Blue, Just Black, and Clearly White.
That's for the
Pixel 2.
Yes.
Pixel 2 XL, you get 2 colors, black and white or just black.
I'm a fan of the black and white, I'm going to be honest.
Yeah, it would be really tough to decide.
Oh man, not for me. It's instantly, I saw the black and white, I'm like, yep, that's what I would get.
Because as Michael Fisher, aka the Mr. Mobile, says during his kind of preview hands-on, he says, it's like the Panda look. And I can see that, or maybe Zebra, just depending on how you look at it. Obviously, I like solid colors, just black, but then again, with the Nexus 6P, I went with white, because I was on like a white device kick for a while, but then with my iPhone 7 Plus, I went with the matte black.
Well, LG doesn't offer white, so all black it is.
Yeah, you kind of have no choice. Security and platform updates, 3 years minimum.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Mm-hmm. Where most companies may try to guarantee 2.
Well, I would say it would be a stretch for 2.
Well, straight Google devices, they would kind of stick with that 2-year. And I think Apple is like a 2-year thing that they guarantee updates. But typically they go fairly long.
Yeah, I just had an update this morning on my LG. Not sure what it was.
Could just be the monthly security. So they weigh just a little bit different. 143 grams for the Pixel 2, the Pixel 2 XL, 175 grams. So not super heavy, but you know they're there.
It's about the weight of a Nokia Lumia 920 for the XL.
Interesting.
Yeah.
They have the, we'll say, the HTC U11 where you could squeeze it and make it do different things. Like this, if you squeeze it, it will bring up the Google Assistant.
Or if it's ringing, it'll silence the phone or something.
Yeah, so that's kind of different that it's on both the Pixel 2 and the Pixel 2 XL, since that was kind of an HTC thing.
Interesting.
So it's neat that they did that.
Yeah.
The fingerprint sensor on the back, you can actually use it kind of like a scroll wheel in a way.
Oh, that's
I saw that on Michael Fisher's video too. I'm like, that is awesome.
I think I would really like that.
Yeah.
Because, let's face it, most of us kind of struggle half the time, like trying to balance our phone and use our thumb. Yeah. If you could just hold it like nice and sturdy and scroll with the back pane, that would be kind of cool.
Scroll up and down the web browser and stuff like that. That would be awesome. I would love it.
I think more phones need that.
I completely agree.
Also, more phones need to be able to touch the sensor instead of having to reach for it.
Yes.
Here's looking at you, Samsung.
Exactly. So again, the Pixel 2 and the Pixel 2 XL have the fingerprint sensor, in mine and Brad's opinion, the correct location, centered on the back, about a quarter of the way down from the top.
Yes.
So that's good. I like it. The other big aspect and the big change, Google has gone the way of Apple and gotten rid of the headphone jack that everybody knows and loves.
I could say I saw this coming. I'm going to be honest. I'm liking the idea of those wireless buds more and more and more. And so much so that Google's like, hey, we're going to make some too.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, the AirPods from Apple have been a huge success. I see so many people.
Not a fan of those just because they're hard plastic.
Yeah, I would rather them be like inner earbuds, kind of like what I prefer, like Samsung's earbuds. Yeah,
like something that can like mold to your own ear, because not everybody has the same ear, let's be honest.
Right. But then again, I mean, when I do use the Apple earbuds that came with my phone,
they're not bad.
I've gotten a little more used to them. I've tried it when I'm like out mowing the lawn and stuff like that. So wearing them for 40 minutes, 45 minutes doesn't kill me. And they sound great, but
I use them when I go into work, because if those break, whatever. I'm typically used to earbuds breaking pretty frequently, so it's just strange that these haven't broken yet. Probably because I don't work in a shop anymore.
Yeah, that's a little bit different for you now, because, well, you don't have as much time to listen to things while you're at work.
That.
You can't.
Yeah, there's that too, but that's for another time.
So when you buy a Pixel 2 and a 2 XL, you do get one of those headphone adapters for free, included in the box, so just like Apple did, helping you make that transition. But if you lose it, or you would like to have extras, here's the kicker. everybody thought it was bad when Apple did it for $10. $9 or $10.
No, it's like $9.
Yeah. Well, here, Google's going to charge you $20 for basically the exact same looking thing.
That's what I was expecting from Apple.
That's exactly what you would expect from Apple.
I wonder if it has something to do with USB Type-C. Because
that could be.
Of the consortium or whatever the case may be. I don't know.
Right.
Either way, that's a little expensive for a dongle, and if you're losing them that frequently, maybe you should just go to wireless.
As it is.
Yeah, I mean, it's got Bluetooth 5.0. Which I was reading up on, haven't retained enough information to talk about, but there are new codecs built into Bluetooth 5.0 that LG has had since the G5 or something. And they're sort of leading the charge in this new codec, and it's a compression, and it compresses the file, but it does it a certain way that it's lossless or something. Anyway, what I'm trying to get at is Bluetooth is getting much better than it used to be.
Right, yeah. You got the Bluetooth LE, where it's just more low energy, so it's more efficient, so it's not as rough on your battery life, which is always a good, because, well, these devices do some pretty impressive things, and you need battery to power that. And as we know with the iOS 11 update on iPhones, it's kind of Apple's still trying to optimize and get that battery stuff figured out. It's kind of a little bit better, but it's still got a little ways to go, I think, to me. But that's just my use case, my experience, and stuff like that. Speaking of those wireless earbuds, Google's Pixel Buds are going to be available for $159. But the cool thing about them is if you travel a lot and you go to non-native language speaking, primarily English, you can get real-time translation. That is unbelievably awesome.
Amazing until you realize you have to have a Pixel phone.
At least at launch. They might open it up to other platforms.
We'll see.
Other OEMs, sorry.
It's exciting to me, however, not as exciting as I initially once thought. I was like, I have to buy a Pixel. That's not happening anytime soon.
But then again, if you look at Apple, if you want to use Apple AirPods, you kind of need to use an iPhone. At least that's for the best experience.
That's a true point. But they've already set that precedent a long time ago. This is more of a surprise where, most Android things work with other Android things, whereas these is you kind of have to buy our phone. Right? Like you said, at least for now.
But at least it helps them hopefully sell more Pixel XLs and Pixel 2s.
That's true.
I can understand why they want to do it. They want to sell more of their own phones.
Yeah, and especially... they teamed up with Verizon to kind of do the Pixel thing. So I would imagine that's the same thing this time around.
Yeah, again, Verizon is the official carrier where you could walk into a store and buy a Pixel 2 or Pixel 2 XL.
Yeah, so you can do your normal, 2-year, whatever
payments.
Yeah, and it's... like we were talking about, it's IP67. It's got all the bells and whistles you would want in a smartphone from 2017, thank God. Plus, they're made by two of my favorite companies when it comes to Android, HTC and LG. So,
another thing too with those Pixel devices that it has an eSIM, so you wouldn't need a physical SIM card, especially if you're getting it on Project Fi. Yeah, you wouldn't need to have the physical SIM card in it.
That is still a strange concept to me.
Yeah, it kind of is because I don't know, security, something like that. Phone gets stolen.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that yet, but I'm open to it. It seems cool.
Yeah, I mean, some change is good. Not all change is, but some is. So the Pixel line of phones, you can pre-order them now. Shipping dates vary depending on storage configuration, color options that you choose, and you should start getting them in the next week, 2 weeks, something like that. At the earliest, obviously, the Pixel 2 XL is the one that's in high demand right now because, larger screen, just LG, stuff like that. That's kind of the more awesome one, and that's the one I would probably go for.
I mean, that OLED screen, though.
I know. Starts at $849. The Pixel 2, I believe, $649 to start. Then add more for the extra storage options, which, again, was nice. They only came out with 2 different storage options.
Like Apple did.
Mm-hmm.
Why not 256? Like Apple.
Yeah.
I don't know. But to be fair, at least it's not 32 starting out.
Exactly.
And there's at least that silver lining. I really do think that we're going to get to a point in phones where we won't have the multiple storage options. We may have more colors, but we'll have less storage options. We'll just have the one. It'll be the maximum, whatever they have in the phone. Because we're going to get to a point to where we're just not storing that stuff. We're streaming it most of the time.
Mm-hmm. Well, and also, if you think about it, if you're buying a Pixel 2 or Pixel 2 XL, you're probably invested in Google Photos. So you can set it and configure it to automatically back up your photos and then delete them from your device, and then they're stored to be accessed whenever, wherever. So essentially isn't taking up all that storage space.
Right.
So that's pretty cool. And if you really want to look at a picture, you can just open up the Photos app and there it is. And away you go. Rapid charging. No wireless charging.
Wireless charging fell off for me when rapid charging became a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because until they can rapid charge a wireless charging thing, or until my phone can sit across the room and be charging from some kind of plug-in, I don't quite care. I don't know. It just...
Yeah. I'm the same way. If you can get approximately 7 hours of battery life on 20 minutes, 15, 20 minutes of charge, that's good enough.
It was cool in 2012.
Yeah. I mean, if you've been running it pretty hard all morning or something like that, go to hop in the shower, you put it on the charger. By the time you're done, dressed, ready to walk out the door, hey, you've just got 7 more hours of battery life, approximately.
Or at least enough to get you through the day.
Yeah.
You could probably plug in your car, too, while you're on the way. But
yeah, if you wanted to.
My commute's not long enough for that.
No. No, it's definitely not. So back to the Pixel Buds. $159 again, and let's see, I'm trying to figure out when you can order those.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but the Pixel Buds, that little string on the back, that's just a string, that's not a wire to connect them?
It does just look like a string, but I think... Well, so I mean, they're wireless, but instead of like the Apple AirPods.
Yeah, they're tethered, so you're not going to lose like just the one.
Correct.
That's my thinking.
They'll both fall out if one goes out.
Yeah, so think of it this way. It's like, back in the 80s when you had a little string attached to your sunglasses so you don't lose them off your head. It's kind of like that.
Right. Or those little kid leashes.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so funny. But no, I think these look nice. You get them in 3 different colors. Black, that kind of light blue, and then white are your color options.
Yeah, again, I'd probably go white or black. That powder blue. Ugh.
And again, that's still one of my only complaints about the AirPods. It's just one color right now.
Right.
I want options.
Like, white makes sense because it's sort of their brand. Mm-hmm. But they've kind of overstepped that a little bit with like black and stuff. Yeah. I feel like they could at least do black.
Yeah, and I don't want to put those little silicone covers and stuff on there. It look tacky.
Yeah, exactly.
That's just me. Not going to sit here and put people down because they do that, but that's just not me. I want them naked, I guess you would say. So,
I mean, I wish I could do that with my devices, but I just don't trust myself enough with my butterfingers.
Yeah, I completely understand. Next up, the Google Pixel Book, in a way, kind of surprised me, but then didn't, because, Google's been doing the Chrome OS and the Google Chromebooks and stuff like that for a long time.
Here's what surprised me. They made it.
Mm-hmm.
Here's what also surprised me. They announced it. The stuff that doesn't surprise me is kind of how it came. I mean, it's a pretty device. It seems it's a solid device. Mm-hmm. The thing that really does bother me about it, looks-wise, is that glass pane to match the phone. It's got that little strip across the top. I don't like that. It's not for me. Some people, I guess, kind of do like it. Again, not for me. It is about the same size as a Surface Pro. It's got the 12.3 inch, but I believe that this is going to be more of a 16:9 form factor, don't you think?
An expensive form factor.
But like a 16.9
yeah.
versus a 3.2.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, this thing's going to run you $1,000 for a Chromebook.
Yeah, to start. And that's the i5, 8 gig of RAM, and I can't remember the storage option. I think it's 128 to start.
7th gen i5.
7th gen i5, which, I mean, that's good.
It's not like they went back 2 generations. Mm-mm. But at the same time, we're kind of on the precipice of the 8th gen. New products are going to be coming out that 8th gen sounds pretty nice. Mm-hmm. Not saying that 7th is bad, but so it kind of has that going for it. 10 hours of battery life, which is kind of low for being a light-end device. I mean, on the Windows side, with full-blown Windows, my Pro, well, not this specific Pro, but the new Surface Pro gets 13.5. Mm-hmm. Now, obviously, 10 hours for Pixel and 13.5 for the Pro, those are all based on, specific settings at specific times, and they do specific things, but at least it's a general idea, and I guess it kind of really does depend on what you run.
Yeah, I mean, there's really only a couple different configurations you can choose from. Like, you can get the i5 with 8 gig of RAM, and then I think you can step it up to 256, but if you want, like, the ultimate Pixel Book, you're looking at, like, almost $1,800 for the i7 and 16 gig of RAM and the 512 storage. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's a lot for a Chromebook.
Yeah, a way, way lot. Real quick aside, this does look like a 3:2 aspect ratio. I did not expect that from them.
A dedicated assistant button. That's kind of nice. 2 USB Type-C ports.
I'm surprised we don't see more of that dedicated assistant button.
I would imagine it's as they push more and more into the assistant and spreading it through multiple different kinds of devices, you're going to see it more.
Yeah, I would probably imagine so.
Which, it's fine with me. It doesn't bother me. I think Google Assistant works really well, and I haven't really had any issues with it.
Yeah, I guess they don't really need a Windows button, so might as well make an assistant button.
There you go. Yeah. I don't know. Just seems expensive, and trying to really determine the market for this. I don't think it's me.
Oh, no, definitely not me, obviously. I love my Android phone, but that aside, if I need productivity, I'm going Microsoft. Mm-hmm. That's where it's at.
And that's not me. Just because he works there.
It's not. I mean, I'd be saying that. I'll spell it out every time just so if any PR is listening, just so you know, I'd be saying this even if I wasn't hired.
Exactly.
This is just how I am. This is why I was drawn to Microsoft to go work for them. Mm-hmm. It's just, I love their products. Mm-hmm. But what's interesting is they also have a Microsoft Pen, like esque, uses the quadruple A battery, which is good. Mm-hmm. I commend that because that lasts way longer than trying to plug up a little tiny pencil thing and only get a certain amount of charge out of it, and then you have to remember to charge it again, and that's too much playing. Like, put the battery in, let it go till it dies. You've got another one if you need it.
Yeah. Google partnered with Wacom, who is known in the industry for, this digital stylus and stuff like that.
But it only has about 2,000 points of pressure sensitivity. And I say only because our new pen has 4,096. So it's good, but it's not the best in the industry.
And I'm sure the Apple Pencil has more than the 2,000 as well, I would presume.
I would presume as well, but I don't actually know what theirs is. Huh.
And so this Google Stylus /pen is going to run a separate $100.
It's right in line with the pencil and our new pen. Mm-hmm. It's right there. So, I mean, honestly, they're competing in that way. Like, all the prices are kind of similar. But, I mean, there's certain quirks about it that I'm not crazy about. Yeah. But it's a nice device.
I mean, in a way, it kind of reminds me of a Surface Book, just in obviously you can't detach the screen from the base, but you can completely flip it over and do whatever you want. Use it as a tablet, use it as a laptop, however you want to do it.
You know, that's funny. This reminds me if you took a Surface Book and a Mac Air and they had a child and it was this. Because it looks more Mac-esque to me.
Right.
With that little kind of cutout in the front and the way the trackpad sits, the different colored keys versus the silver. I guess to me, it looks kind of Mac-esque, but then you have the form factor of, like we were talking about earlier, the Surface with the 3:2 aspect ratio, a little more square. I don't know. It's a very different device.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Again, it's going to have an interesting market to see.
Yeah, we'll see on that.
And like Android Central mentions, there's nowhere to put the thing.
It's not magnetic or anything?
No. At least the Surface Pen is.
The new pen is very strong, like magnetic-wise.
Yeah, you can kind of slide the
device,
across the table if you want.
It's pretty nice.
to try to pull it off.
So that is interesting. I guess you'll have to really watch where you put the pen.
Mm-hmm. Very. Yeah, definitely have to watch where you put that at.
I guess the last thing really is the new Google Home Max and the Google Home, is it Mini?
Yes. Yeah, so in addition to the standard Google Home, which, again, you've got one, they released or are releasing a larger Google Home Max that, again, Google has definitely stepped up their pricing, and I don't mean like stepped up to be more competitive on the low end side, but more competitive on the higher end, because this thing's like $399.
However, it's in line with Sonos on their Play 3 or something like that. So, I mean, in all reality, yeah, Sonos Play 3 and a Play 5 speakers. It falls in that kind of same price range, so they really are competing when it comes to that. I find it interesting that they made a bigger speaker. I'm not sure. Again, at the price point and everything, I can tell you right now, it's not for me. We have the two Harman Kardons if we ever need to Bluetooth anything. I don't need an assistant and everything, I don't think.
No.
So it's whatever. I'm sure it's for somebody. It is definitely not for me. I got my Google Home for free.
Yeah, I think just a lot of it just depends on the kind of place that you live in.
Yeah.
And stuff like that, and just how ingrained you are into the Google ecosystem.
Mm-hmm.
This thing has two 4.5-inch woofers, 0.7-inch tweeters that supposedly will fill even the biggest rooms in your home with sound.
Well, to be fair, the little, just normal home puts out a decent amount of sound, honestly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I could definitely see this thing actually putting out a good amount of bass, a good amount of everything.
Mm-hmm. And supposedly Google has what's called Smart Sound, which is a feature that will calibrate the soundstage based on your room's dimensions and the kind of audio that you're listening to.
So it sounds like it does what the Kinect does, where it has the mic array, it kind of judges from how it reverbs back to it, and then it'll adjust accordingly. That's kind of cool.
I guess adjust the bass and treble kind of automatically. Interesting. And then there is the little Google Home Mini. That is only going to be like $50.
Oh, interesting.
And it's, as they like to say, the size of a donut. And speaking of donuts, there's these pop-up donut shops. It's going to be in like 11 or 12 different cities around the United States. And
including St. Louis.
I know. That's like November 9th. I've already RSVP'd because I want to go try to win one.
That would be cool.
Because they're going to be giving them away, or you either get the Home Mini or you get 2 free donuts. One of the two you're walking away with.
Hey, I'm good for some donuts.
Yeah.
We'll see what my schedule's like.
Yeah. I'd much rather have the Home Mini.
Yeah, it's kind of cool.
Just a little bitty.
I'm honestly surprised St. Louis.
Yeah,
because lately I feel like we've been skipped over with a lot of things.
Yeah, I would have completely figured that it would have been Kansas City. I mean, nowhere in Colorado. That's very surprising.
Huh.
So you've got San Francisco, Los Angeles, Austin, Texas. Let's see. Then you've got Brooklyn, New York, Then you got Manhattan, of course. You've got Indianapolis.
That's weird.
Chicago. This is the surprise. Madison, Wisconsin.
That's another weird one. Like Indianapolis, Indiana. Like probably the most populated portion of Indiana. However, I mean Purdue's right there. But other than that, like what?
But then again, I mean, if you like are into startup culture and follow that industry, Indianapolis is really doing some good stuff, and they're a little bit more advanced, I think, than St. Louis because, well, we just trip on our shoelaces, even though we tell hey, tie your shoes, and they won't tie their shoes, and they just keep tripping over it. It's like, this is how you could fix a lot of the problems, but they're just not listening.
Pretty much.
Oklahoma City, and then, like I said, Toronto. So, November 9th from 12 to 8. And I know exactly where this is going to be, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's not that far from here.
It's over there by the CIC building.
Mm-hmm.
It's awesome.
Pretty cool.
I know. So this is going to be kind of neat. $50, size of a donut, power of superhero. It's just kind of interesting. 3 different colors, kind of like a coral white and a black version. So, again, powered by Google Assistant, so everything is, Google Assistant, stuff like that.
Chocolate, vanilla, strawberry?
Kinda, yeah.
Donuts?
Yeah, I guess you kind of go that way, because it's not, like, brown or whatever, but still kind of cool. The Mini works with Chromecast, so you can stream shows, movies, and music on your TV or speakers. That'd be kind of cool. So you can say things like, hey, Google, play Stranger Things on Netflix.
Okay, good. Yeah, I'll work on that. Thanks, Google.
Yeah, so I didn't think it was just going to respond to me when I said that. But hey, it works. Oh, that's always nice. So you can tell it to turn off coffee makers, turn on air conditioners, works with Honeywell, Nest, Insignia. So you're trying to think what that is. Probably Philips Hue. Yeah, there's Hue lights. If this, then that stuff. So yeah, they're really... The home is getting smarter by the day.
Yep.
If you want it to. Yeah.
I want it to.
Yeah.
I just live in an apartment.
Yeah. So it'll make your apartment smarter if you'd like.
Eventually.
So, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see this. So, yeah, the Google Home is still going to be $129. The Google Home Max, $400. Pixel 2 starting at $649. Chromecast Ultra, $69. Regular Chromecast is $35. And then some other stuff, too. There's just so many different things. Chromecast Audio. Yeah. Between Google and Amazon, they're just wanting to take over your darn house. They also unveiled a new Daydream VR headset. It's got like a heat sink in it. Costs $20 extra. Couple different colors that you can get it in. So if you're like big into that, you can get your order in now for that. Then they decided to jump into the camera space.
This is the weirdest one out of the entire, like, I guess, presentation or whatever.
Right, that shocked a lot of people, like, whoa, what? So Google Clips is going to be a camera that uses artificial intelligence to take photos. It's a standalone device. It's very small, and you can clip it onto pretty much anything. Kind of looks like a very miniaturized GoPro in a way. I mean, just really, really small. Just a little bitty square with a camera lens and a button.
Yeah, so from what I've read, this seems like it would be fine for taking pictures, but don't use it for video. For the love of God, don't. It runs at 15 frames per second.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Because movies are played back at 24 frames per second.
And most games are 30 to 60 frames per second.
Yeah.
So all I can say is that is going to look like hot trash.
Yeah, don't put it on your helmet and head to the ski slopes.
Ooh, man, might make me puke.
That is probably not going to look very good.
Yeah, I mean, and the faster it is the worse it's going to look. So if you, like you said, if you're skiing down a mountain, it's going to look like you're warping through time or something.
Yeah.
I'm picking on it a little bit, but that's because we like these devices to be good, and we want them to succeed when they are kind of neat, cool, and quirky. This is one of those neat, cool, and quirky, devices, but there are certain questionable things that they did that I don't particularly agree with.
Yeah.
Maybe it was because they're trying to hit a certain spec, and in order to do that, they had to kind of compromise a little bit.
I guess.
I'm not sure. We're not sure. We don't have the inside information. However, this is just our take on it.
Yeah. And for $250, woo.
That's the other thing.
Yeah. It's a
so how much is
device.
the Snapchat spectacles? They're like 100 something.
120, something like that.
And then
no more than 150, I don't think.
New Polaroid they brought back the one that just instantly prints out the picture. How much is that? Like 150.
I don't really know.
I wonder if it's about that same price.
Well, I don't know, but either way, those would be cheaper options than this.
Yeah.
16 gig storage. It pairs with your smartphone over Wi-Fi to offload the photos. Yeah, I don't know. Just seems expensive and not necessary, but I guess it'll remain to see what this will be like after it actually launches.
Yeah, and if they are popular enough to warrant a Gen 2 or 3, that will have better specs.
Because, we all remember the little periscope-looking thing from HTC a couple years ago, the
something like
the little hook-looking camera.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was kind of a neat little thing, but nothing ever came out of it.
Well, I think a lot of people lost interest in things like Periscope and I forget the other one. It's Periscope and something else.
Meerkat.
Yes.
Meerkat just died. Periscope itself is still a thing with Twitter. And anyway, that is pretty much what Google did. It was overall, I think, a good session. Obviously, most people are more interested in the phones.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, those are a known quantity to be good.
And I know last night my wife was watching I think it was ABC. So she was watching Scandal and How to Get Away with Murder, and they played probably 3 or 4 new Google commercials showing off some of a variety of the things that they have announced and coming out with.
Interesting.
So commercials are popping up out there, folks, if you're watching TV with commercials.
Yeah.
Like live television, which is kind of odd that we were watching live television. Well, I wasn't. I was prepping for this because that's just what I do.
Mm-hmm.
Next up, Sonos also had an event the same day as Google.
Didn't hear about that.
No, I didn't either. So the Sonos One is pairing up to have Alexa in it, and also going to have Assistant and other stuff in it a little bit later.
Interesting.
But this is like a $200 speaker. So again, like Brad mentioned earlier, you've got the Sonos 3 as well, which is their more higher end. And there's also a Sonos 5. But I don't know if I would rather have Sonos 1, which I know Sonos speakers sound wonderful, or if I would just much prefer to buy 2 Amazon Echoes. So I could have 2 speakers, one in different rooms.
Yeah.
As opposed to just one speaker.
I don't know. So here's the thing, and this is mostly because I live in an apartment. Mm-hmm. I don't care too terribly much about those honking huge speakers because it's I have neighbors right next to me. I'm trying to be civil and
respectful of everybody's noise levels,
which is why I have a really nice headset for my Xbox, because I love when that thing's turned up nice and loud.
Yeah,
I got to hear those footsteps. I got to hear every little bullet trace and everything like that. Like that's where I spend my money in, is I spend it on a nice headset, because I know for now, at least for the foreseeable future, big, ginormous speakers are just not for me.
And you still want to be immersed.
Exactly.
And you guys do have a sound bar. I remember that from your last apartment. It's just not out here.
We sold that.
You did? Okay, so you don't even have that anymore. But you did have a sound bar.
Yeah, I mean, the sound that comes out of this particular TV is fine. I think if we get the newer OLED TV from LG, we will probably have to get a sound bar. And I would imagine we'll spend a little bit more money this time on the sound bar, just because getting a cheap one didn't quite do it for us.
Yeah.
So it is what it is.
Yeah. So in an apartment like you're in, having one speaker would probably be sufficient, because you can kind of put it like where you have your Google Home now.
It's kind of centrally located.
Exactly. Yeah. Or put it on the little case behind me where I'm sitting.
Yep.
And you're going to be able to hear it in both bedrooms, the kitchen, the living room, with no problem.
Yeah.
Probably even listen to it while you're taking a shower.
Almost. I would like a speaker in there, though.
Yeah.
I would. Just on the top shelf, little tiny, not super tiny, but tiny enough to where it's like the Google Home. If I could find an outlet for it that would work fine and not have to run wires over with a sink or something stupid, that's probably where I would put it.
Right. Something with maybe like a rechargeable battery that you could charge it once in a while and pop it in there.
Yeah. We sell stuff like that at work.
Oh, you do? Well, how about that? I still think, personally, for me, in a house, I would rather have two speakers. One for the living room, kitchen area, and then maybe just one maybe for downstairs.
Because let's be honest, how often, even if you do just have your own house, do people turn it up to where you may not be able to hear one another talk?
Yeah.
To get to appreciate how much power it can put out? Probably not very.
Yeah, I mean, you might crank it up when it's just you at home.
But how often is that?
Yeah, exactly.
Not very for most. Mm-hmm. Maybe I'm wrong, and
everybody's
to each their own.
Is different. Yeah,
to each their own.
So I think I would still rather go with two Amazon Echoes for $200 as opposed to the one Sonos.
Yeah,
for my situation.
Yeah,
yours different. Then again, you probably wouldn't need a $200 speaker. You'd probably be fine with what you got or one Echo.
Yeah, probably.
I don't know. Let us know. That would be a nice little discussion to have in the Tech Informers community on Facebook.
Why, yes, it would.
Yes, it would. Another little bit of news that kind of upset some people this week on the Microsoft side is the fact that Microsoft has put Groove Music Pass on kind of life support and planning on taking it off life support at the end of 2017 calendar year.
Brings a little tear to my eye because... All right, let's try to walk down memory lane here. The Zune software was fantastic. And then we changed how we did certain things because when the Zune was born, music was done differently, whereas now it's mostly streaming stuff. And to be fair, it's really hard to compete against really established things such as Spotify or Apple's music.
Yeah,
Apple Music. Yeah.
Or even Play Music or Amazon Music now.
And the other thing is, we have Groove Music integrated into most of our products. However, I don't see why they couldn't integrate something like Spotify into our products and just have a partner. Mm-hmm. We're very, we're loaded with partners. We have a ton of partners. That is like our business is in partners. Mm-hmm. It's kind of sad because it kind of reminds me of the whole Windows Phone thing, which I don't even want to get into.
Yeah, it's like one thing after another.
Yeah, I mean, like somebody kind of said, what's next? Movies and TV and stuff? Mm-hmm. I can't say that it's a possibility. I mean, it kind of is.
It sounds like something Aaron Hall would say, which I think he did say on Twitter this week. Yeah.
I mean, it truly is a possibility because... we have certain features and others have been wiped away, and but you could say the same for Google. Google's done some things and then they didn't support it for a while. So
they've killed off things. I can see them killing off that Google Clips or that little camera. I can see them killing that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't see that really lasting long. But Microsoft is making this transition easier by, again, partnering. So there again, they're partnering with Spotify to let users import their Groove playlists and music to the popular streaming service.
Picture this, because we're thinking about partners.
Right.
So imagine a world. Imagine a world.
In a world.
So where you could have the iTunes library and or music or TV or shows or anything like that, and imagine that you could buy that off of your Xbox or your PlayStation.
Mm-hmm.
That is interesting.
It would be.
So, I don't think Apple will ever do that.
No, I can't see them doing that.
But that would be really cool.
So Groove Music app will actually stay on Xbox.
Yeah. And Groove Music will continue to work in the way that if you put a bunch of music in your locker up in OneDrive, you can still stream it to that device.
Right.
Which is what I mostly do.
Mm-hmm.
However, you won't be able to make playlists or do any of the fun stuff that you can do now with it. So you can switch over to Spotify. I think, did you already talk about that?
Yeah. So the way that it's going to work is that Groove Music Pass customers can easily move all their curated playlists and collections directly into Spotify. Plus, you may be eligible for a 60-day free trial of Spotify Premium. So if you pay for the Music Pass, I don't know if you're going to get like refunds.
So let's say, and I'm just guessing here, let's say you had like a year's worth of Groove Music that you just got. You would then be able to turn around and maybe turn that into Spotify credit?
Yeah, possibly. I'm not sure. It doesn't look like it's necessarily detailed that way yet. But anyway, you're going to be getting the updates should actually be available now to where you can start getting that notification to start moving things over to Spotify. Because again, this is October the 6th, so you've got until pretty much the end of the calendar year, and looks like Groove Music Pass content will be available to move to Spotify until at least January 31st of 2018.
Yeah.
So you got some time, but don't wait.
I probably won't. Spotify's not my thing. I just kind of use Pandora occasionally. I don't listen to music a ton, and when I need it, I'm usually, again, listening to Pandora, or I use DI Radio because that's usually what I use when I'm writing a lot. Mm-hmm. So, I don't know. I pay for DI Radio instead of Spotify, I guess. Yeah. I'm sure I could find a much similar, playlists and things like that. I like DI Radio. I want to support them because they're kind of a very niche thing, and I want them to do well. And I like listening to music, and again, I'm still not listening to as much as I'd like to, but I don't typically curate playlists or put playlists together. Mm-hmm. So it's not like I spend a lot of time, I got to have my workout playlist or my driving playlist or whatever. Yeah. So that's just me. Most of the time when I'm at my computer, I've got earphones in anyway because I'm editing podcasts. Right, I know, yeah.
So it's kind of makes that a little bit of a challenge to listen to music and listen to people tripping over the words. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of a challenge. But Spotify has they're available in over 60 countries and has 140 million active users, and nearly 60 million are actually paying subscribers. That's kind of impressive. So, and not enough people were using Groove Music Pass to keep making it worth Microsoft's while. And as we've seen, if people aren't really using it, the market share is not there. They're not going to sit here and keep pushing it out there. But it's just kind of next. Yep. Also, what's next is that you will soon be able to start using the Edge browser on your iPhone and Android device. It's currently in iOS beta that you can, if you're a Windows insider, you can sign up to get the latest Windows 10 Insider preview to get the Edge Preview mobile app. And on iOS, it's like Test Flight or something? Yes, that's typically how that stuff works, through test flights and betas and stuff. So this one kind of blew me away. This one got me thinking a little bit. And again, I'm always the last to know when we get new products, but just bear with me here, because we were kind of talking before the show. And wouldn't it be interesting if Microsoft did make a Android phone that had
all of the hardware that we know from Lumia. Great cameras, obviously, and everything beyond that. It'd just be their new launcher. What's it called?
Microsoft Launcher.
Yeah, which is replacing Arrow. Mm-hmm. Edge browser. I mean, it's kind of everything you need.
Edge browser,
we've got the whole
OneDrive,
Office
Skype,
suite.
Office.
Yeah, I mean, you have literally everything. It's just running on Android, and maybe that's the Surface phone. I don't know.
Yeah.
But that would be interesting because Microsoft has done things like that before. This is probably way back in the 80s, but even before my time, so bear with me. But I think it was like IBM computers that they were running a lot of their software on. Eventually, they made their own whatever, and, well, here we are now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we keep thinking Surface Phone will be
Windows
Microsoft's own thing. Windows 10 Mobile.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know.
Judging by these new software things, I could see it being an Android now, especially being able to, you can connect to your PC and do all that. It's starting to make more sense. You've got all the apps already in the store. I don't know. But yeah, would you use the Microsoft Edge app? Just out of curiosity.
I'll at least give it a whirl and see how it is for efficiency and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's what I'm curious, because Edge is known for its efficiency. And
Lord knows, every time you get on Windows 10, you open up Chrome, it'll let you know that Edge is blah, 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 so much more efficient than Chrome.
Yeah.
When it comes to battery.
So what I do at home, I usually use Chrome for my PC, desktop, computer room kind of computer, and then Edge I use on my Surface because, well, battery.
Yeah, you don't need to worry about battery life on a desktop computer.
No.
You can use Power Hungry if you want.
Yeah.
But on mobile, you kind of want to sip, not drink.
Mm-hmm.
Which is another reason why I often will use Safari on MacBook, and sometimes I'll use Edge on the Windows partition. Yeah, that was kind of surprising that Edge preview is coming to iOS and Android. So you've got an Xbox One X ordered.
Yeah, the special one.
Yeah, and it seems like with every Xbox, they do something fun inside, which I don't necessarily know why they always do this stuff inside, because if you open it up to look at it, you're voiding your warranty. But the Xbox...
That's what pictures are for.
Exactly. That's what other people are to do.
Yeah.
So Xbox One X is going to have a little Halo Master Chief riding a scorpion stamped on the system board on the inside of the Xbox One X.
It's kind of amazing.
It is. It's kind of cool.
And, I mean, as you all know, it'll be coming out November 7th, $4.99. And... beyond being able to do 4K 60 frames, if you don't have that 4K TV, it is up to 50% faster on loading your games. So beyond that, you have your terabyte of storage, you have the up-resing of the games, or super sampling, as it were. So it'll take that 4K image and it'll, bring it down to 1080p, but you'll still get the extra textures and the extra things that would usually be included in 4K. So, it's worth thinking about if you don't have an Xbox yet, because you are only a PlayStation person. Maybe now's the time to jump into Xbox. Because chances are, last generation, you had an Xbox. Because we sold a lot of 360s.
Mm-hmm. Or you're looking to get a 4K Blu-ray player.
Yeah, exactly. Because as we know, Sony's proprietary Blu-ray is not in their device. I have yet to understand that.
Right.
It is what it is. We have it in ours. So if you need 4K Blu-ray, you know where to look.
Exactly. And again, like you said, launches November 7th. You can probably still get a pre-order for a standard Xbox One X now, couldn't you? Not the special edition, obviously.
Depending where you go. I would say they're sold out in certain areas, in certain stores. I think we might still have some at the Microsoft store. So that's with a grain of salt. Maybe check your listings, maybe call ahead of time, make sure that they still do have pre-orders before you just kind of take an hour trip if you're heading to, let's say, the Microsoft Store or something.
And I think, is it this weekend that certain Best Buy stores around the country are having the Xbox One X demos?
It was last weekend. I think it's like there's a couple weekends in a row, actually.
Yeah.
And it depends where you are in the countries where they're going to showcase it. Nowhere in St. Louis.
Yeah, so just check your local Best Buy to see. I know St. Louis, no.
Yeah, it's like way the heck out there in Missouri where they're having this particular location for Scorpio, and I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Never heard of that town.
Nope, but hey, we can get a Google Donut pop-up shop.
Apparently.
Interesting. All right, so cutting the cord is about to get just a little bit more expensive if you are a Netflix subscriber. Not a whole lot more expensive. It's going to be going up from the standard plan that includes HD to simultaneous streams. You're going to be going from $10 to $11. And the premium service, which includes the 4K resolution and 4 simultaneous streams, will be going from $12 to $14. I think it's still okay.
Yeah. Once we finally do get a 4K TV, I'm definitely getting 4K, streaming. It's once you see it, it's kind of hard to go back.
Yep.
It's like 1080p versus, standard definition. Once you see, high definition, it's hard to go back to standard definition. It's each iteration we go, and this makes sense. Netflix is pouring a ton of money into their shows and
$5 or $6 billion into original content
between things like Orange is the New Black,
Stranger Things,
obviously,
House of Cards.
I mean, those alone. I could definitely see why they're raising the price, but then they have the standalone superhero stuff that a lot of people like.
All these new comedy specials and documentaries and feature films and yeah.
So the content's there, so I'm not super mad about it.
Yeah.
We use Netflix a lot.
Isn't it wild that it just seemed like a couple years ago Netflix was really struggling?
I don't know if I ever felt that way about Netflix.
I mean, something about it was just really struggling. Maybe it was just because their stock price wasn't. But now stock price is like $190-something bucks a share. It's crazy. So it's doing really good.
Mm-hmm.
It's doing really good. So be on the lookout very soon for that price increase. New subscribers, that's just what you're going to be paying for right off the bat. I think it's worth it to me. It's still a good deal and still cheaper than having cable and stuff like that.
Yeah, definitely.
And last but not least, AOL is finally shutting down AIM, the AOL Instant Messenger, after 20 years.
Oh my gosh. I never was one of the people to use AIM. I was always an MSN Messenger person. There we go again, Microsoft account. Go figure.
Yeah, and that shut down in 2014.
Yep.
Yahoo Messenger shut down last year.
Yep. I mean, it makes sense. Nobody uses these services anymore. Everybody uses text messages or their own
Facebook Messenger, essentially.
Facebook Messenger,
WhatsApp,
Snapchat,
Line.
Pretty much every other app that is not a messaging platform beholden to a basically, desktop.
Yeah.
But, I'm sure a lot of us grew up with these things, so it is kind of the end of an era, as it were.
Oh, yeah. I mean, AIM, back in the day it was it. It was the way to communicate with people instantly while you were on dial-up and AOL and the internet. Everybody used.
See, that's so interesting. In my particular town, everyone had MSN Messenger.
And I wonder if that was just like your local internet provider maybe kind of pushed that.
I don't know. Yeah, that's weird. Because my wife, Sarah, she used AIM growing up. I never used AIM.
Mm-hmm.
Like, ever.
Yeah. Did you ever use AOL for anything?
No.
Okay, so if you never used AOL, you had no reason to use AIM.
Yeah.
If you ask me, there's just no point in it. So,
just a Microsoft guy through and through.
Yeah, look at that. Born and bred. He bleeds the 4 colors.
Those are copyrighted, Kevin.
It's okay. You can still bleed them. Still bleed them. So that's shutting down pretty soon. All right, time for some app entertainment and hardware picks. First thing I've got here is an ebook. If you're looking to learn to be a software developer, just kind of get your feet wet, play around with some exercises and things like that, you can get Coding for Dummies for free. It's like $16 off just by going to the link that we have in here from neowin.net.
Huh.
Yep. Pretty cool. I mean, if you like reading ebooks, I think it'd be very worthwhile for people.
Yeah.
A game for you Stranger Things fans, and you've got an iPhone or an iPad, you can get Stranger Things the game on iOS, and it's very top-down, kind of Super Nintendo-ish style. Sprite-based, yeah. It's really neat. I actually played with it for about 15-20 minutes last night, and you just kind of tap and kind of controls where the character that you're controlling at the time.
Interesting.
And you can switch between different characters as you unlock them and find them and stuff like that.
I gotta say, I'm super excited about the new show. Like, I saw one of the new
trailers.
No, not the trailer. Oh. Just a graphic of the officer with the flashlight in the pumpkin patch. Yeah. Oh, man. That is
good.
Everything about this show that they do and put out so far has just been freaking phenomenal.
Yeah.
I really, really hope the second season is good. I'm worried because this is going to be like make it, break it. If it's bad, season 3 is not going to be looked forward to as much. I mean, season 1 was so good and so phenomenal, and it came out just at the right time.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have this, coming right before Halloween.
Yep.
I mean, this is great. This is awesome.
Yeah. So I look forward to playing a little bit more with this. You start the game as Hopper, and you're going through this lab, and first person that you rescue is Lucas. So the 4 boys are missing. All 4 are missing at this point.
Interesting.
And like you rescue Lucas in the thing. And I don't believe it has to do with anything with spoilers for the new show.
Wouldn't think so.
No, it wouldn't make any sense to release a game that would spoil the show a month before the show releases. Anyway, it's free to play.
Yeah.
There you go. 2 different difficulty levels. Like you can play it normal difficulty, or you can play it 1984 hard. That's what it's called. 1984 hard. Like, well, I don't think so.
Atari hard.
Exactly. So I'm like, yeah, I don't think so. So you got to get kind of creative with different things. Like Lucas has a slingshot, so he can hit the levers to activate the laser rays in the rooms and stuff like that to take out enemies and stuff. Hopper just like punches people. I don't know. It's interesting. I'm looking forward to playing it some more. So definitely check out Stranger Things, the game on iOS. So now I guess it's time for this week's beer pick of the week.
I swear this beer was named after the particular kitty sitting next to me. This one is called Tough Kitty by Boulevard Brewing Company.
Yeah.
It is a milk stout, or a sweet stout, however you want to say it. I always say milk stout. It sounds better. 5.5 ABV, 27 IBUs, and I give it a solid 4.25.
Okay.
This is just a great all-around milk stout. I had it last night, and it's just makes me super excited about the colder months coming up ahead, and having those kind of darker beers that normally most of us don't drink in the summertime, just because
too thick. It's not something you want to take to your 4th of July picnic.
Right? Yeah. I mean, I would be the weird one and show up with like an oatmeal stout or something.
Right.
But typically, yeah, you're right. You want the lighter, crisper beers. But yeah, this one's great. It's, again, there's nothing super special about it other than, you could probably find it easier than a lot of our older beer picks. I believe this is a newer beer that they've had because I believe, added 7/27/17. So it's not very old.
It's only got about 4,400 ratings.
Yeah, and Boulevard is actually pretty close to us. I mean, it's in Kansas City, so it's not that far away. And they make some great beer, so and this one's fantastic.
Yeah, I might have to consider trying this out. Just found out that I've got celiac disease, so gluten is kind of a problem for me now. So I'm going to have to look at my diet a little bit more.
So when you drink beer, obviously that has gluten.
That's a problem in the morning, yeah. It's not so bad that night, but mornings are usually kind of rough.
Interesting.
Yeah. Huh. So I've got to adjust my life.
Adjust accordingly.
Adjust my lifestyle, yeah.
Well now.
Yeah.
You know, famous Internet Justin, or as we call him, or Justin Scard, has celiac disease.
I might have to ping him, or at least watch some stuff and see what he's ever said about that stuff.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there are definitely options out there, and they're better than they've ever been. So, yeah. And a lot of the keto diet is very much kind of geared towards that very, very low carb / almost like no gluten at all.
Yeah.
So
I just found out about this Wednesday, so just a few days ago. So I'm on like day 2.5.
Okay, that is new.
And so yeah, just changing a few things until I can meet with a dietitian to kind of come up with some kind of game plan. But I've already felt a lot better just by eating a little bit differently. Passing on a few things.
Yeah.
But man, the whole lower intake of like pizza and breads, that's going to be the hardest part right there.
Oh man, Doc, how long do I got? Because I'm not giving up my pizza.
Yeah, so, I mean, if anybody's listening to this, kind of has to deal with some of that stuff, I'd definitely love to hear some of your experiences and your recommendations / advice on things that you have found that works good for you.
There are some pizza crusts that you can make that are friendly, gluten friendly.
Yeah,
not friendly with gluten.
We have a roast beef, quote unquote, fast food restaurant chain here in St. Louis. I'm not sure how far out that they branch. No, Lion's Choice.
Okay, yeah,
that has a gluten-free bun option. And I picked one up yesterday. So again, you have to pay 50 cents more for this particular bun. Yeah. And I went through the drive-thru and got the bag, and I go to reach in to grab out my sandwich, and it's not a sandwich, it's this bun that's still wrapped that looks like it had been microwaved, but it's all sealed so it's not cross-contaminated.
Oh, that's clever.
And I have to take the meat and the cheese that's in this little soup bowl, little plastic soup bowl, and I have to put the sandwich together.
Yeah.
So I had to,
however, in this case, that is actually the way to do it.
Right.
Because cross-contamination is definitely a thing you got to look out for.
It is, yeah.
When you special order at Disney World, they actually have a special menu. They literally make it fresh, and there is a specific place that I go, Pecos Bill, and I get the gluten-free option because it's actually really good.
Yeah.
So
and you know it's fresh.
Yeah,
it's made just for you.
Yeah, and they don't cross-contaminate it with chips and things like that. So yeah, there's many things. We'll talk about it. We'll figure it out. It shouldn't be that bad.
Yeah, it is interesting. It's just the whole. I mean, the first thing,
beer is going to be interesting, though.
Yeah, that was the first thing Justin, friend of the show, said was, God, what about the beer? I'm like, I know. How do you think I feel? So, But I've already kind of cut back on my kind of desire. It's like, I'm good. I don't really, I don't know. It's weird the last few weeks, month. It just is what it is. That's part of life.
Oh, right, sure. You get older, things happen,
so
things that hurt that don't usually hurt, and it's
all you young folks out there. Get ready, it's coming.
And trust me, I know they don't believe us yet, but they will in time.
They will. I mean, I know my stepson. He says, a lot of that stuff you used to tell me when I was stupid and wasn't listening when I was 14, 15, 16, and 17 and stuff. Man, I should have listened more. Like, yeah, I know. Tried to save you a whole lot of headaches and trouble and money, but that was your choice.
Yeah, I mean, you can only
live and learn.
Yeah, you can only tell them so much.
Yep, but that is true. So, speaking of saying it so much, I do want to invite everybody. Just, again, if you're listening to this, come on over to the Tech Informist Facebook community. Again, Tech Informist community, just search for that on Facebook, and you'll find the group. There's probably 10, 12 of us, maybe. I can't remember how many of us are there. We're starting to get a little bit more active and stuff. Just post questions, start discussions, have some fun.
I remember what I was going to say.
Ooh.
Real quick aside, if you are still listening, this is a neat little thing. Scientists have figured out how to change the little molecule that has to deal with celiac and like kind of get rid of it in most gluten food that makes the person who has celiac disease get sick. So maybe look forward to that.
Maybe. That might be something I start reading up on.
So
we got a lot of research to do.
It was like a Gizmodo article not that long ago, like literally maybe a week.
Few weeks? Okay.
Yeah.
I will have to look that up.
Yeah, either a Gizmodo or a Verge or one of the higher ones.
Huh.
So
Interesting.
I may even have it somewhere. So
yeah, I'd probably just do a quick little Google search. I could always just say, "Hey," but I won't. I won't get your Google phone going again. So anyway, thank you all for listening, and we'll be back again next week with another episode. That will be 192. Man, we're coming up close to that 200.
I know.
It's coming up quick.
Scary.
Be sometime in
December?
Yeah, probably early December, just based on the current schedule and stuff, the way things are going. But yeah, we're getting there.
Mm-hmm.
I have to plan something fun for that one.
Yeah, see what we can do.
Yeah. All right, everybody. Have a great rest of the day and a fantastic weekend. And until we talk again, consider yourself informed. We're going out.
Deuces.